What if Raditz turned good? What if Raditz turned good? What if Raditz turned good? It's gotten itself stuck in a perpetual loop. Hey folks, MasakoX here, and you might recognize this layout right here. It's called Inferkit, and what it does is that it infers what you want to actually type. As we saw a couple of weeks ago, in terms of making art, at least on an open source level, it's a little bit janky. I wonder if things will be janky here. Let's see what we can get with the base settings. One day, Goku went for a walk and saw Krillin holding hands with Android 18. So, okay, I put in some base instructions, generate text. So what we got? After a short scolding, he went back to training. A few weeks later, Vegeta got his chance to get in on the action. Wow, that's actually really specific. That's really good. Super Saiyan Blue Goku had ventured off into the mountains to train on his own. I mean, wow. That's actually really impressive. During his training, Vegeta fell out of a tree and broke his... Okay, this is a bit funny. Fell out of a tree and broke his knee. What was I doing up a tree? I am Vegeta, not Tree Jeeta. Despite the setback, Goku refused to let Vegeta rest. Instead, he rushed to make a marriage proposal, and when Vegeta agreed... Oh, okay, this is where it's getting juicy. Goku was excited and relieved. Unfortunately, before the wedding, Vegeta had to face his foe, and when it went poorly, he jumped off the platform, putting the wedding at risk. I've let the AI sort this out. Already, it started off really solidly, but then it went to Vegeta and Goku getting married. But mind you, they are pretty much a couple the way the writers of Dragon Ball write them. They do everything together, so what's the difference, really? So I have decided to up the sampling temperature. It gets a little bit more risque. If you get closer to 2, that's when it gets just completely insane and it becomes absolute jarble gobbledygook. Raditz and Launch decided to talk to Goku about things to do in West City. Vegeta interrupted them on a fruitless attempt to talk to Goku. He left both furious for choosing Vegeta when Raditz came to the cave, determined to talk to Goku about his glorious accomplishments. So far, this AI, what this is telling me is that Vegeta is really salty. It really implies that Vegeta is a salty boy. I mean, he is, so actually this is kind of accurate, so I want to know more. So what did Goku say? Goku and Raditz discussed innumerable properties that had nearly prompted Pan from advancing her agenda by stealth rather than through mindlessly taking someone out of line. Space Pirate Ginyu? Okay. Space Pirate Ginyu just loved to know how often, despite being faced with the unemployed space kid Goku, what Raditz was best at doing was living above him and stealing his air if they felt the need, not talking to Goku about it actively. So as you can tell, it doesn't really make too much sense, but I like the fact that it just throws in random characters from Dragon Ball. Now, I want to have a little bit of catharsis here with Vegeta's silly decision to let Cell transform into his perfect form. So we've got Perfect Cell loomed over Vegeta, making the Saiyan regret his very bold decision. Okay, here we go. What are your intentions with my mate? Stop being overly dramatic! Vegeta snapped back at the energy vampire, which I guess Cell's an energy vampire because he drains energy and he's voiced by Taka, who also voices Alucard. Gone are Vegeta allies. We are friends that have grown apart. He smirked a tad at the current relationships their lovers were managing. Perfect Cell laughed softly, knowing how foolishly he had hurt his brother back in 18. To Vegeta though, Perfect Cell would be just as much of an enemy as Ardat, Jinzo and Junie, whoever they are. The vampire crossed his arms, but did not lash out. Ooh, okay. Any further, a more strategic retaliation would come. Vegeta grinned in pride for the very mature act. I would be looking forward to seeing your immature attempts to get in the middle of my important drama. Finally losing his face in combat, Perfect Cell blushed profusely. Now that you mention it, Gohan can be so interesting sometimes. He laughed a dry, long sound. Vegeta scowled, but chose not to look further into the conversation. Oh no, this has gotten really awkward. He eyed the energy vampires and gave a cursory glance toward his other friends. Implies that Vegeta had friends? Gotcha! Then let's get this fight over with. They probably want revenge for today. Perfect Cell's smile turned triumphant, too mischievous and lustful to be missed. Here we go! Vegeta grit his teeth, overcome with irritation and worry. It was painful to know that there were those out there who would reject them or actively sabotage them to this day. They had not yet had the wisdom to see that karma was tough but fair. And there's only one of us, and they had already attempted to use their demon's appearance and relationship to capture my mate? Perfect Cell spoke his concerns aloud. Vegeta stared at him, momently forgetting that his lord was about to see them together. I doubt Gohan can outrun their muscle anymore. Vegeta was getting tired of being second fiddle to Goku all of the time. So we get that. So let's see what you can come up with. But Gurchin Cons were fierce fighters. He wished not to be squawked to death like Gohan. I mean, I know that Icarus had a beak and all, but I didn't realize that he would just like squawk to death. Like, what? The beast eyelids widened in urgency as Vegeta yelled in annoyance. It's about right. Going from grating annoyance to craving revenge over within howling seconds. Those reprimanding eyes moved from Beedrill, okay, we got Pokemon here, to enable photographic fixation with Vegeta, and Vegeta for only about 45 times. Runner would be sound asleep. Vegeta laughed at Giringjurop. Rapun's timing. Super form will prevail even on this faulted hallucination. Raditz saw another precursor from his own fresh psyche. He was already caught up into Turbo Shelf Mezzi form. Run, bananas, raccoon! Oh, yes, this is what I was looking for.
Utter chaos.
Since I know that a lot of people would have wanted me to try this anyway, I'm going to actually satisfy your very curious and cheeky brows with some Android 21 action. Android 21 was craving some action as well as plenty of candy. With no hesitation, she floated up to the roof, excited by this latest turn of events. It was an adventurous ride with her new friends though. A lot of tricky maneuvers were required to actually reach the roof. What is this, inflation? What? I don't want to know. It was an exhilarating rush as the topmost layer of the behemoth caught air, bouncing off the walls and sliding to a halt directly above Android 17 and Android 20. Her big brother brought out the chocolate, preparing the team to dig in. Android 17 grabbed a handful of candy, then set it down on the table with a loud plop. Ew! So we're free then? Android 21 asked anxiously, interrupting the madness. One glitch. We need authorization from the chief of security on your end first, unless you're planning on hopping into this position. Whose position is that? Android 21 gasped in shock. Then you're a monster. Maybe you shouldn't have gone after Tech House, Android smirked. And with that, Android 21 lost her lunch, sending a plethora of chocolate into the air. Like a leaf flapping out of a wall. Okay, this went from mild inflation fantasy to chocolate and sharing, and then, well, Android 21 is called Vommy and superhero, just Vommy by name. Now, I suppose you're wondering, how could this actually handle just such a simple prompt as, what if Goku was betrayed by Beerus? I did that video yesterday, and if you want to see the results, go and check that link up top. But let's see what a computer can come up with. The whole aim of Ranma 2015 and Goku with Beerus is to remind us Goku has had a habit in the past of getting stupid, not quickly changing his mind, it's kind of about right, and when risking his life, boldly trying to climb into a literal locked chest with no apparent need for a key. One would realize the highly dangerous prospect of trying to balance himself and a payload into a parallel universe as well. Seeing adults brag about their genius and provoking knowledge for the fiction of forgetting to put on a different set of running shoes to use that whole movement to distract? What are their painfully sore bored battle tactics? Again, the strength, the force expended to talk about current maneuvers, bragging about the extent globally usually increases the speed of those forces. Turbo fic. Okay, so I keep talking about the sampling temperature right here, so what does it actually do? So what do you want to see? Turn it up all the way to 2. What does it come up with? Sniper rifle, quite smote, ceiling, fuel, elastically, divide, resonate, 3, 2, 1. It's just utter nonsense. So let's get rid of that somewhat, okay? Android 18. Come, Kreuzman. Android 18 pulls Laura's tired body to the giant Colosseum, where the assembling Luterilum exercises prepare for tonight's Champion Cup matchup, yell encouragement at Laura's arrival. Giant wings move each foot of guards adorned. Wow, so we're getting Android 18 with Kreuzman and Laura for some reason going to the Champions Cup in a joint Colosseum. It's kind of epic. Android 18 and Krillin found themselves in a dark pit with no doors to escape from and very little light in which to see. When Krillin complained that they had no torches, Android challenged him to find the tallest tree on the beach and climb up to find some shape. Patty asked if Android purposely encouraged Krillin to burn his feet. Android had remembered Kishokami telling him that the smallest flame touches the hardest object, possibly implying that joking was always an unnatural part of patterned training. Patty brought her tea on the beach, while Krillin walked until he found the first tree and climbed up. They were in a dark pit with no doors to escape from and very little light in which to see, and then suddenly they were on the beach for some reason. So as you can tell, it doesn't like to play ball sometimes, but I mean, we got a story, we got a CoHint story here. Now, naturally, people want to get a little bit smutty with this, and so I've come up with this prompt. Goku and Chi-Chi were all alone. Gohan was busy studying with Ox King, and they had the place to themselves. While a couple of his buddies were in the middle of gulping down gigantic mugs of milk and slapping their delicious fried chocolates all over themselves. What? Goku sat in silence. For once, he wasn't worried about his son. He could relax, being away from there, away from all the people. His eyes wandered just to see who else was in the kitchen. The house was packed with cooks and helpers. There were so many from Diabolo's family and even from Yamcha's too. The kitchen was crowded with men that were interested in drawing tea and preparing desserts to please Lord Yamcha. Yes, the roaring sirens and wall of swords chased them out so they could finally start to be friends. Goku looked on in wonder. The house smelled delicious from everything being prepared and tasted even more delicious. He couldn't concentrate on anything in particular. Gonna ride with Miss Mary? Chi-Chi asked. Who's Miss Mary? Goku stared at her and then his eyes drifted off again to see the chefs working on dishes. She sounded so lovely. Yeah, that's about right. Goku's obsessed with the food rather than the women. So I thought I'd go with something a little bit more elaborate, just something more to work with. So Goku and Frieza fought vigorously on the plains of Namek, their powerful blows tearing the ground apart beneath them. Goku wasn't sure how long he could carry on, but Frieza wasn't giving him a chance to stop, so let's see what the computer can come up with here. Frieza had landed some heavy blows on Goku, but his attacks carried further, and when his palms clasped onto Goku's red-faced body, they hit skin instead of muscle. Well, that's a regular punch. Goku countered with a separate blast, which stunned Frieza momentarily, and Goku landed a powerful kick on Frieza's lower body. Frieza yelled as he flew into a tree, releasing him from his hold. Goku tried lifting Frieza up again, but Frieza would not take his hands away. Standing with a burst of flame, he punched Goku on the chest, sending him flying. Goku flew many feet in an arc, tumbling to the ground in pain. He landed in the darkness again when Frieza returned to the field. They then fought again and again, before Frieza became unwise enough to try dropping Goku from the air. An explosion erupted behind Goku, causing him to fly back and crash nearby, where Frieza jumped in to grab him. Goku was not the least bit afraid, even knowing that when they were up against other fighters, the two could rely on each other. That's actually pretty good. That's not bad at all. So this actually comes from a script that I wrote, and this is from the What If the Farmer Defeated Raditz story. So this is the bit where Raditz heard the hubbub and spotted the huge ostriches running towards him and paid no mind. So this is the bit where, yeah, there's that stampede and it knocks Raditz out. So I want to see what he can do to go from this. So however, the farmer used this time to use the element of surprise. He decided he'd take a pinch of grenades himself and then get his way with Raditz without confronting Raditz face to face. The farmer quickly rounded a corner and started running towards the orphanage, and Raditz followed after unhurriedly gathering a score of extras. Within a quarter of an hour, Raditz was near the orphanage with little intention of checking it out. Raditz continued walking to the outskirts, slowly filling up his rod. Stop it! It seemed that the area was too deserted and boring for him. It would be more effective to hit this village while Raditz was in his natural element, jumping between roofs and slinking through street lamps. Raditz began picking his targets again and peeling off around them until he was waiting in the safe hole. So we went from essentially a farm to near an orphanage. And I like the fact that the AI kept running with it in a way, but then eventually it got to Raditz's rod, and that confused me. And then to wrap things off, let's just give it simply Dragon Ball Z. And Dragon Ball Super, Lost Epic Final Fight Tacho lies ahead. Relevant posts, English characters that are dead for now. Cast, animation, Dragon Ball's producers are in charge. Here's a list of the cast. More news on broadcast time. Pot. Yeah, I think that gives you the gist about what to expect here, but give this a try for yourself. I'll leave a link to it in the description, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you really like it, do leave your own prompts in the comments below, and the highest voted ones will be then included in a follow-up video when I get around to it. Anyway, I hope you're doing really well, folks, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe for more Dragon Ball content, and I shall see you again very soon. Catch you later!